Hi, I'm Chris Leader. I'm the president of Leaders Edge Training, and I want to welcome you to our monthly tips. I hope you're going to enjoy them. Feel free to forward them on to anybody on your contact management system. Hi, and welcome to this month's real estate tip. The tip this month is against all odds. Never underestimate the power of determination. The world is full of educated derelicts, an unrewarded genius, almost a proverb. Determination and persistence alone are omnipotent. From our greatest challenges comes some of our greatest growth. Let me share a personal story with you that'll help demonstrate what I'm talking about. When I was in real estate, when I was in the sales part of my real estate career, and I'm going back to the time when I was about 23 years of age. I'd been in the business at that point for about 5 years, and my younger brother had also joined me in the industry. At this point in our sales career, we were doing very well. We were a couple of up-and-comer young guys around town. We were selling lots of houses. One day I was sitting at my desk, and my broker, Al, walked by, and under his breath, he mumbled something about selling the business. Seems a couple of the sales ladies in the office were having a dispute about a client, and Al had it up to about here with their dispute. Well, I leaned back in my chair and I thought about it for a moment. I looked around the office and I thought, geez, how wonderful it would be to be the boss. See, naivety is an interesting thing. I followed Al into his office and I said to him, are you serious? And he looked at me and he said, serious about what? And I said, are you serious about selling the business? He said, why? Do you know somebody who wants to buy it? And I looked at him and I said, I did, without even knowing the price. Al said, I'll sell it to you in a heartbeat if you're ready. So that afternoon, we actually negotiated a price for not just the business, but including the building. Now, I had some challenges. First thing was I didn't have any money saved up. Quite honestly, my brother and I had bought an old Victorian home that we had refurbished, and that's where most of our money was tied up in that one property. So we had our equity tied up in the house, but we didn't really have a down payment for the business. The second problem we had was nobody had a broker's license. We were both salespeople. So the offer was conditional on us being able to arrange financing, and as well as that, to be able for me to go off and get my broker's license. Well, I did just that, and I went through school and got my licensing to be a real estate broker. Simultaneously, my brother and I sold our Victorian home. We took our little nest egg and we used that as part of the down payment. We took a rental property in town, and quite honestly, we lived in a basement apartment at this point and wouldn't tell anybody where we lived because being successful realtors, we didn't necessarily at this point live at one of the best addresses. Add to that, we still didn't have enough money to close the sale on the building and the business, so I convinced my parents to lend us some money and actually co-sign for the balance of the loan. So not only had I taken all of myself and my brother's money, but we had borrowed from my parents and we had gotten them to sign as to the responsibility for our debt. Now, if you know anything about a real estate office, it's not the building that you buy that has value. It's not the desks or the telephones or the photocopier. The real value of a real estate office is its salespeople. Well, the first week that we owned the business, my brother and I, we went into the office and the entire sales staff walked in and quit. So here's my brother and I sitting in our office looking at each other with no salespeople. We've basically convinced my parents to invest in this business, and now we're in a position and we didn't know what to do. We booked an appointment to see our accountant. We went to see him and he said to us, if you two boys continue to sell the way you always have, you'll work it out. So we did exactly that. The following morning we went in early and we went to work. You see, 99% of the time, failure is an emotional surrender. And if you remove the option to fail from your mindset, surrender is an impossibility. Success is doing whatever it takes. Well, the rest of that story goes something like this. Within 10 years, my brother and I had rebuilt that business back up. Not only did we rebuild it, but at this point, 1/4 of the entire real estate board worked for us. We've since sold that office, and it continues to run to this day. The point I'm trying to make is this. You are going to be faced with some very tough challenges in your career. And at times it feels that we're completely submerged in what it is we're faced with. But I promise you this, whatever it is, you're going to get through it and you're going to come out the other side. And when you do, you're going to be that much more powerful because of it.